Chief Randall, I want to thank you for letting me come over to this district. And thank you for all the heartwarm emails and letters that have already been sent by your crew. I'm really excited to work with them. And I see that we're starting off here, that we're going to work with this firefighter kitchens. It seems like you're having a few issues with them, and I'd be more than happy to handle the situation for you. I have noticed that there's 8 different letters of performance or complaints mixed in on that. The first one seems like you, in my opinion, from reading in the first email you sent me, is that Firefighter Kitchens seems to not be himself of late, and that his performance seems to be declining, and you wish to work on getting him back to a previous performance that seems to do well. And I couldn't agree more from the limited amount of information that I have at this point. I think there's some definite bright side to this, and I think there's something we can do about this, and I appreciate you letting me handle this. Uh, with these 8 letters, I also noticed that E.O. Baker was worried about an EMS run that they made, and that he didn't, Firefighter Kitchens had not called for an additional LS, which to me seems like that's saying this guy's a good paramedic. He should know this is an LS call. That's his profession. Why didn't he call for it? And I like how I wrote it, because it's not like I don't want to dig into him, but I want him to be fixed and back to his old self and yet again. I was also from your previous captain, Captain Stewart, said that there's a couple of instances that I see that Capt. Stewart had asked him to do things that weren't getting done, like EMS reports. You and I both know that's extremely important, because we've got to make sure that our documentation is done, because we need for lawsuits, we need to do our job. We can't just sit there and say, well, can't have a do a report. It has to be done. Just like you and I both have to do our reports, we have to do our paperwork. This is expected of him, and he should be doing that. That's something that I will check into, make sure that that's continuing being done and done properly. With Chauffeur Perez, Chief Green had sent that letter over, and he was kind of concerned about. I would like to speak with him about it first of all, but the discontinuation of patient care with the other gentleman. It seemed like that there was still patient care continuing, but that Firefighter Kitchens had stepped away from that. And our first priority is the customer, and we need to make sure that we're doing that. It also seems to be that Capt. Santana one time had to wake him up from a run. It was that's twice in one evening, and maybe that's something when some person who's tired and is not getting the adequate type of sleep on their days off. I'll explain that in a few moments about what I think that might be. Also, with you had mentioned also, Chief, that you had the PBA logs were not being done, and then you're checking out. Well, I know that's also a reflection on the station captain, which is my job now, and also when you're going around doing these preparation for make sure that everybody's doing their inspections, that it looks bad upon you if you don't have been doing it. So I totally understand that needs to be done, and I will make sure in the future that that's always done with all the men. I also noticed that there was a customer complaint letter in there with Mr. Younger. Seems to be that he wanted to get information out, and it wasn't being allowed, and that of course gives us a small black eye. And usually people will not come out and say, oh, well, I'm just a little discouraged, I'm gonna write a letter. They're usually pretty upset, but it seems like he knows that people could have bad days, and he wanted to make sure that we went around and we corrected this problem. There's also seen Miss Brown at training had scheduled him a training day, and he did not show up, which, as she mentioned in the letter, saying, hey, this costs us money. We need to make sure that everybody shows up for training, because I could have had someone else to do that. Well, of course, Chief, that boils back down to the captain, which is a responsibility of mine. that this needs to be done. And I know this is under Captain Stewart's stewardship, but now that he is my man, I make sure that he goes that does his training just like every man. I can't single out one person and say, no, you don't have to go to training and the others do it. That's not fair. We do everybody straight and equal across the board. The objectives that I think that need to be accomplished here is a real simple one in my mind. There seems to be a way to help firefighter kitchens. We need to make sure that he is welcome here. And when I say we, that's me, but I like to think of us as a group as firefighters, as chauffeurs, as captains, as chief, that we need to get along. If there's a problem that, I need to get right to it and figure it out and make sure that this person feels welcome amongst us. And that might be a problem at this time. The actions I like to to get to that objective is I like to speak to each individual in a letter. Like, Chief, if you can give me any information of what he was like before and what kind of pattern that you think this might be that you've seen, I would love to have that information. Plus, I'd like to talk to the civilian and first of all say, hey, Mr. Younger, Captain Stewart is no longer with us. He's retired. But at this time, I wanted any deep and sincere apology for any way you felt like that. You're a customer that we will take care of and always take care of. That is what we're here for. We're here to serve you. And I would love any information you can tell me about the scene or whatever, because I'd like to get, before I speak to the firefighter kitchens, I'd like to find out your side of the story, please, sir. And I would also like to, talk to Captain Santana. I'd like to talk to, E.O. Baker and Miss Brown down there, and also let Miss Brown know that we're not going to tolerate people not showing up to their training. That's something that has to be done. Absolutely, we don't skip out on training. If not, we need to plan ahead. Of course, if someone's sick or whatever, per our policies and guidelines, as you know, sir. I should be informed, and I'll make sure not only when I introduce myself to them and stuff we will first enforce the policies of the Houston Fire Department. Also, I want to go to speak with firefighter kitchens. I feel that there's always two sides to a story, and I know that there's 8 different instances where we're talking about here, but as you can see, there's good information also then in here. He has, commendation for doing an outstanding job, and I want to make sure that that's getting across, that that's appreciated by him or by all of us with him. He also has, we have some decent reports or EPEs that show, or employee evaluations that show that he does a good job, even though he went down a little bit after this incident that I think is the problem, which is I think that he did not seek his CSIM or the critical incident stress management course that was often his coordinator and stuff. The chief, the EMS chief, is concerned about that, and he would like him to do that. I plan on encouraging him to fill that out and do it. And when I speak to him, I want to find out if that's bothering him. And I also believe that might be the sleeping problem also. Maybe he's having a problem with this because people, where I've read in books before and stuff in my training or previous promotions and stuff, is that sometimes loss of sleep is from people that are so stressed out from previous episodes. And I want to make sure that that's covered. I don't want to tell them and go straight to it and say, hey, we know it's this. I want to, find out through them. And if not, at least speak to a CSIM coordinator and also coordinate with a ISM coordinator to make sure that he knows that we might have a possible problem here, and just not go in and, try to force it down firefighter kitchen's throat, but to go down and speak to them and say, hey, you haven't done your thing. We need to do this. It won't take long, but I want to just lay it all out, and it'll stay between you and me, like it's supposed to do with the CISM. And that might in itself just correct the problem in itself from what it is. But we also need firefighter kitchens to know that we care and we want to do what's best for them, and we want to get them back to that outstanding firefighter performance, like in that letter where it shows how great of a job he's been doing. at that house fire. I mean, he saved a person. And maybe he feels like he's got to save that person, every person, which we know, even in that other letter saying, hey, no one could have saved that child, but, appreciate everybody did the entire crew. And by the way, Chief, I would love to hear about both stories. Sounds like one of them just a fantastic story. Another one may be tragic, but I'd like to know how people conformed and did stuff and what they did at their job. I really want to get to know my crews and the people that work around and let them know that I care and I love them because I do. Also, I'd like to maybe see if we're still on our 90-day break programs. I'm going to check and see if we have that. The one where you can give a man away from a slower unit or whatever, give him some time to refresh, recharge his batteries from a very busy ambulance medic unit that he's on right now. I just wanted to make sure that my reasons behind those actions is I want to get a good feel for each story. I want to make sure that I cover all the bases. I want to set a plan. I want the CISM guy to come in and make sure that, since he's the professional, he's been training, that I'm following the right basis. When I do all this information, I'm going to make sure I document well. I'm going to document, so the canceling form of 312. I'm going to put it as Form 42 that we canceled and spoke about the previous letters that I've received and the concerns of the crew. I will put in the captain's log also that this process was done. And I want to make sure that when I do this, you can also document and go through, make sure proper chain of command is handled, which comes to, we'll let you know, Chief, that I want to be extremely informative of what I'm doing in this whole process. I will take care of the problem, but I also want to let you know, so in case you have to put a little bit of input here and whatever to find out what's going on. And I always believe that you should keep your chief in the concern like this. Evidently, you've had a concern, and you did lose an officer, and then you wanted to finish this untied business. So I want to make sure you're always in the loop to make that sure it's done. After the information, I want to have a good follow-up phase. I want to make sure that I contact the CSM coordinator, even if this problem to what we see is solved, that he's getting, Firefighter Kitchens is getting exactly what he needs. We will make sure that he knows that we care. I know I've said it before, but I really do feel like I want the crew to know we care, we get along, because we have to work together, eat together, sleep next to each other. We're home away from home. We've got to take care of each other. I also want to privately chat with Firefighter Kitchens in that follow-up stage, so I can make sure that that the course is improving and that the course is going along, and also maybe figure out if I have to take a more drastic thing if this is a negative impact on it. It's something we need to do as for me, and then to follow up with you. I also want to watch how he handles himself with customers after that. If he goes and continues on, even after he's getting help, we'll have to do something more drastic and go stronger, such as, staff services, really make sure that we follow through with our, canceling forms and hopefully we don't go to that step, but we might have to. In summary, Chief, I think every man is worth his salt. I think every man should get a try. I think every man should do his job, but at the same time, he should feel like he's part of a team. I'm a captain that's happy to be here in your district. Thank you for letting me come. I'm not worried about handling a problem. I think that's my job. That's what I get paid for. That's what I've been trained for. That's what I know. Again, I appreciate you working for me. I appreciate the opportunity. And if you've got any information at all to help me with this investigation, I would love it. Any of your previous experience or tips, I'm more happy to listen or take in, because you've already been in the position I have, and that's great advice that I take. So I want to let you know that I'm here, and I appreciate everything that you allow me to do. And you're going to find out that as a leader that I am, you're only as good as your team. Thanks again, Chief, and thank you, assessors, for allowing me to do this assessment. Thank you.